What's up, Hypebeast gang? ASUS has sponsored this video where we're looking at their Bathing Ape laptop, and I definitely knew what that was a couple minutes ago. To help me with this unboxing, we have Arthur, who has bought his clothing from somewhere other than Mech and Sears. This actually cool? I have no clue.
So once upon a time, Bathing Ape was one of the coolest streetwear brands that you could wear. Nowadays, it's probably lost a little bit of its relevancy, but still really cool.
Okay, so this is something people would want.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, this is stupid. So what am I looking at?
You're looking at a laptop case.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Why we needed the expert.
Okay, cool. So this is the famous BAPE camo. You'll notice like hidden in some of the little camo pieces here. They're little apes. And you have all the little characters. You have Baby Milo right here. Hey Andy, you had a shirt with this guy on it, right?
Yeah, 10 years ago, and one was like Asian small size.
All right. Okay, this it looks pretty cool, if I'm honest.
This case looks really sick. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is pretty cool.
Okay.
I've never seen a laptop come with a figurine before.
It's a monkey. All right. Anything else be aping here? Oh, what is this? Okay. Is this cool?
Alex, if you see this camo on anything, it's instantly cool. Alex, are you familiar with the Teriyaki Boys?
Like Tokyo Drift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nigo, the Teriyaki Boys DJ, this is his brand.
Oh, cool. All right. That's the first bit of this that I've actually been somewhat intrigued by. Also, we have a bunch of stickers. If you put these on your keyboard, are you instantly rich and cool, apparently?
Look, Alex, I already explained this before. Anything with these guys on it, instantly cool and instantly rich.
Okay, noted. Thank you very much for your expertise.
Yeah.
I just realized that this monkey comes with a laptop along with it. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. One sec. Oh my god, it's heavy. What is this made out of? I was not expecting this figurine to feel like that. Like, it is solid. The stability is not too good. If you look at the size of the head compared to the size of the arse, it doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense. So you can get the center of gravity off of the area where it's sitting pretty easily. Aw, look at the little laptop. It's actually adorable. We'll both be laptopping soon. Oh, his head turns, cool. All right, that's enough of that. I wanna look at the laptop. In the box, we have a charger that is 90 watts. That is quite good for something of this size, although I am slightly disappointed to see that they've gone with a barrel charger instead of USB Type-C. The laptop itself does really look quite cool, if I'm honest. Like, look at the way that the light catches the design on the back. The way that they etched that is just excellent. Also looking at it, we have one foot that's orange, and actually quite a good bit of I/O. So on the left here, we have one USB Type-A. Then around on the right-hand side, we have 3.5mm headphone jack, Thunderbolt 4, another USB Type-A, full-size HDMI, love to see that, and where your barrel plug goes in. I kind of like the way that they have the I/O just sort of in its own little area here, while the rest of it gets to go up and be a little bit thinner. I really like that they gave us a good bit of I/O on this, even on 15-inch devices these days. Sometimes they just don't, and I don't get it. Damn, okay. The way that they've done this trackpad is really cool. If you look here, it's a glass-topped trackpad, and below the glass, they have this, what is it, Baby Milo camo crap? It looks really well done, and I'm glad that they didn't just slap a sticker on top of this. I don't think that the backlight's going to shine through the keys when you put the stickers over them, which kinda sucks, but the spacebar does not have a light, so we can just put this on here and we're all good. Nice. Of course, I'm sure many of you, like myself, don't really care about the whole Bathing Ape thing and just want to know if this is a good laptop. And so far, it's looking really quite good. There is definitely a little bit of chassis deflection, like especially if I hit above the trackpad, it's squishing a bit, it's a little bit, but it's the sort of macro flexing that you're able to get away with. What I really don't like to see are squishy spots where your keys are going to feel different. This seems like much more of like a large area dipping sort of thing, which is not as bad. Before we open the laptop, I just want to open up this carrying case. It does look quite cool, and looking in here, we have spot for 2 mice, couple of pens. I don't know what you put in here, but you can put something in there, and a nice spot for your laptop. This is quite a nice case, if I'm honest. Oh, we have a fancy startup thing. You know, as far as brand integrations that I've seen before, they have done a really good job of, and we have a fun little background. Okay, this background, I have to admit, is pretty cool. I don't know what kind of CPU resources this uses, but as you put your mouse around it, the little buys pop out from their hiding locations, which is pretty cute, I do have to say. Look at that, hello. If you're into this whole hype beast whatever, I do have to say this is quite exceptionally done, ASUS. You did a really great job integrating that. So it is 2880 by 1620, and it is an OLED panel at 120 Hertz. I really like that ASUS has brought the 120 Hertz to their creator laptops instead of just keeping all of it for their gamer ones. Because like, even in Photoshop, having your mouse move around more smoothly will make you faster and better. It's just, I love high refresh rates. We did send this off to labs, and our display engineer was incredibly impressed with this display. Now, out of the box, it comes with a vivid mode on, which just, it's too much saturation, especially in SDR. It's pushing it out to like full Adobe DCI P3 color spaces, and just, it's a bit too much. But that said, you can very easily go into their software, configure that, and make it really, really quite good. This can really be seen in our testing results. So in the vivid mode that it comes with out of the box, we're looking at an average delta E of 4.6 with a max of 8.9. That just, you cannot trust it, it is not good. But you put it in the actual color modes, and it is exceptional with an average delta E of 0.9. We consider 2 good enough to do professional work on these. What's also impressive is that in HDR content, it's able to hit the full 600 nits, and even though you only need to hit 10% full brightness for the HDR 600 certification, this can do 600 nits up to a window size of 75%. Which is really, really great for an OLED display, because normally like you'd only be able to get a small amount of the display to be at full brightness, and then it will just sort of run out of power and have to dim itself. Whereas 75% is really quite good, I have to say. Moving on from the display, let's see how this mouse is. I actually didn't have labs test it, but I'm guessing it's not very good if I'm honest. Ooh, oh. Well, positives, this mouse feels kind of heavy and well built, and has a cool camo thing on it. Not so positives, everything else. But that's okay, because we have an excellent trackpad. As I said before, it's glass topped. We don't have to finger lube it too much to get it nice and smooth out of the box. And the tracking is nice and accurate as well. The click feel, really quite excellent. And it does have an actual physical click instead of the force touch that you do see on some laptops. For the keyboard, I think I'm gonna give it an A-. It is quite good, but it's far from exceptional. The chassis is quite well built, so we don't have problems with inconsistencies. The keys themselves are consistent, and if you look here, when I press on the side, you can get a bit of deflection, but you can't get down to the chassis before you actually actuate the key. The feel's a little bit on the mushy side. I do think you'll have no problems getting up to full speed on this keyboard. It's just not as satisfying as some of their competitors. One nice little bonus though that I just realized is we have a numpad. Some people really love numpads, and if you're one of those people, here you go. Moving on to the performance, we have the Intel Core i9-13900H, which is a 14 core, 20 thread, absolute beast of a processor. That's a little bit too much for this chassis. Now it is able to sustain 45 watts which is what it's rated for, but you would normally expect an i9 to be able to do a little bit more than that. I think this laptop might have been a bit better off with an i7 or an i5, but that said, for quick bursty loads, the i9 is going to be able to go wicked fast for small amounts of time. One thing that I was really concerned about though, when I saw that we had an i9 processor and 120 Hz OLED display on this, was the battery life. And I'm just moving that up to this section now because it is incredible what this 13th gen chip has been able to achieve. We got over 10 hours of battery life on this thing in an endurance test. And this also really shows how power hungry the i9 can be when it wants to, because we weren't able to manage 2 hours in our full out stress test of the battery. I have never seen that kind of a gap between the two. Normally it'll be like 4 hours and 6 hours, not like hour and a half and 10 and a half. So you kind of get to choose how much battery life you have depending on what you're doing. But if you treat it nice, you will have it all day. Also nice, the RAM. We have 16 gigabytes of 4800 mega transfer per second stuff here. For the disk, we have 1 terabyte of NVMe storage, Intel Wi-Fi 6E, and for a GPU, it's just the built-in Iris Xe onboard stuff. You can, if you want to play games at 1080p, get away with some low settings with this, or 2D games, runs them just fine. But of course, it does not have a dedicated GPU. Do not buy this if you want to like play games all the time. That said though, for the games that it does have the performance to run, we've got a 120 Hz OLED display. You can get competitive in Rocket League with that kind of a thing instead of like a business laptop with this CPU where even though it can, the display will not keep up. All right, let's see how a game of Rocket League feels in this. I have a 1080p medium. Oh, this is not what I was hoping for. This is pretty rough. It's the sort of thing where it's not atrocious, but the number that you're seeing is not very accurate. So like it's saying that I'm getting like 70, 80 FPS in Rocket League, but the frame times feel like they're kind of all over the place. So for a competitive game like this, you're going to struggle even if the number itself says it's doing pretty good. Okay, I have discovered a thing that is quite interesting. So you remember that fancy wallpaper that ASUS had that had the little buys jumping out and stuff? Turns out that uses a lot of system resources, as I was kind of afraid of. So I was having some brutal stuttering in Rocket League, even at lower resolutions. It was not what I would consider playable. Turned off the wallpaper thing and now she's great. Now I am getting 100 FPS and it's actually rock solid. So maybe just disable that, get rid of it. Sorry, BAPE, you're not worth the CPU resources. Moving on from gaming performance, let's give the speakers a little sniffy sniff. Oh, I friggin' love OLED displays. Even just these bars right here, look at how black that is. Treble seems good, nice and clear. It also has a surprising amount of sound, but do these Harman Kardon speakers have any bass? Not bad, not too bad, all right. I can jam out to this. That's the sort of speakers where you're not gonna be reaching for a Bluetooth speaker every single time that you play music. Good job, ASUS. For the webcam, ASUS has given us a 1080p one, and apparently it has 3D noise reduction. So it uses multiple microphones to only get your voice in and no one else's. I can't really evaluate how well it works in this, but I can say that the camera looks fine. I'm sort of blown out right here, and if we move ourselves around, I think that it would much prefer if I was in a darker area, which is kind of strange. It's very bright. It is incredibly bright. This is one of the brightest webcams that I've ever seen. So if you're in a basement, maybe it's great. One last thing about the webcam that I quite like is we do have a physical shutter here, just so that you have that extra peace of mind that no one's having a look at you, even though we do not have Windows facial recognition up here. But we do have a fingerprint reader in the power button, which is the best spot for it. Thank you, ASUS. Okay, 10 T6 screws later, we're able to get inside. Those screws are different lengths, so make sure that you have them organized in some sort of way so you put them back in the right spot. But we are greeted here with our 75 watt hour battery. That is what allowed us to have our exceptional 10 hours of battery life out of this thing. Andy, what do you think about that?
Is that a cricket?
How's it making you feel?
Oh! Why did you point that out?
Why did you do this,
Turn my
ASUS?
camera off.
The good news is you can upgrade your storage and you can upgrade your Wi-Fi card. But if you watch this video, you will know that they are both crooked, and ASUS, I cannot believe that you have done this. Looking at the cooler, we have one fan, 2 heat pipes, and 2 heat sinks. And if you look here, the heat pipe's kind of longer than you think that you might want it. And that's because this is actually available with a GPU that goes right here. Not the BAPE edition, of course, but you can get it with up to an Intel Arc A350M, which is one of the GPUs that exists that you can put in a laptop. If I'm honest, I haven't looked at Arc a whole lot in the last year as they have developed it, so I can't really comment on how powerful that thing is, just that the last time that I looked at it, it was not. We also have our RAM soldered down right here, the speakers that were quite great, and I think that's about all that's in here. Now for the BAPE edition of this guy right here, it is $1,300, and that's about a $200 premium over a similar-ish config without all of the monkeys and camo and crap. Overall, I do think that ASUS has done an excellent job here, combining the 120 Hz OLED display and this 75 watt hour battery into a laptop for a bit over $1,000 is quite impressive. I'm not entirely sure what the availability of the BAPE edition is going to be, but you can check it out in the link down below, and huge thanks to ASUS for sponsoring this video, and huge thanks to you for watching it. Hit like, get subscribed, and just have a great old day. I'll see you later.